Okay, guys, so today I'm going to be going over OCG lists for whitewoods that are topping events in Japan. Well, anywhere in the OCG, but a bunch of them are in Japan. And talk about what choices they're playing, what engines they're playing, what tech cards, what relevance this has for the TCG. By the way, I have seen that the Azamina cards have been announced. They are a natural continuation of the Whitewoods lore, and I am going to make a video on it, but the scripting hasn't been finished for all of the cards in Omega, so I'm going to wait until tomorrow and then possibly post a video on that and explain what that means for the Whitewoods deck. But there's some stuff that looks very, very good and extremely promising, so that video will come tomorrow. Okay, so we have 11 deck lists here on Yu-Gi-Oh! Meta. If you don't already know this website, it's relatively new, and I highly suggest using it to look up meta decks. So for Whitewoods, this was top 32 in YCS Japan. And we see that they're playing the Centurion cards, but also they're playing three woes. And this is a trend that I've noticed as I've been following Whitewoods in the OCG, that they like to play a lot of woes and less legends than woes. And I honestly don't know what the reason for this is. I could guess that like some logic behind it is that drawing this card isn't bad because if you got stopped in your combos or you got max seed and you had to stop playing, this will still allow you to play on your opponent's turn. But the problem is if this is in your main deck and you draw this going second, then it actually is a brick. So I think this is not a good choice, but the OCG does love playing bricks. So yeah, they have one Primera, one Trudea, they have one of each of these tuners, and they have one Gargoyle. And then three stand up, three oath. So I think this makes sense as the for the Centurion ratios. This is like the larger package if you really want to commit to those cards because these are the solid cards, the starter extenders, oath, and stand up. And then you're almost forced to play Gargoyle because of how much of a difference it makes to your ceiling. Remember that they don't have calamities, so their Crimson Dragon play is usually double Blazar, although this guy is opting to play Red Supernova Dragon, which I kind of like because it means that decks that aren't weak to Omni Negates just cycling through every turn can lose to Red Supernova Dragon, so I kind of like that card there. And then nothing else I think of note. I'll just mention that Packbit seems to be popular in the OCG too because they, I think, are using it against Yubel. I don't know why they don't play any level 10 outs, but Packbit is a lot easier to summon, so that could be the explanation. And also, by the way, we see that they are playing hand traps, even though their hand trap count isn't super high. So it's just three Imperm, three Ash, three Veiler, obviously three Maxi, and then they have some talents there. So next list, we see they have one Droll for the one crossout, classic OCG ratios, which don't really make that much sense. Although you do lose to Droll, so, you know. They have three Chicken Game, which I don't like that card anyhow, so I don't think I would play it. It being at three, I guess, does change it because you can more reliably open it. They are playing two Soldier. Actually, wait a minute. I just realized this guy doesn't have any toy cards in here. I was so laser focused on the Centurion stuff, I didn't realize that. So he's playing two Soldier, three Box, one Tank. Okay, obviously no Rhoda, otherwise he would have been on three Soldier. And their skill drain is at one. Two Silvera, okay, I don't know why. Access code, I have found this to be kind of useful for just having some spot removal that's not dealing with monsters, so I kind of like access code. Baguska, generic. And then we have their one summon limit, but that card is banned for us. They're siding Secret Village. I don't think you should ever main that card because it's a brick going second. Here we have, okay, three Soldier, which is what I think is good. No Rota. They are playing both Azaroon and Reframing, so this is something that I am definitely not a fan of because these are both bricks going second. And then he's also playing two Woes, so imagine these are four cards. If we just go to Yu-Gi-Oh! Party, imagine that you have four cards you don't really want to draw, and you go second, and then like literally half of your games you are opening those cards. I don't know why you would play it this way, but again, classic OCG stuff. So he's playing an Omega. Interesting. He's playing Dispatter. Huh. Why is he doing that? Is there a particular reason for this? I'm actually not sure. Is it really just that he's citing two Bestials? Okay. I don't really think this batter is super high impact, to be honest. That's kind of a strange choice to me. Anyhow, we do see Evenly Matched and Cosmic Cyclone, and then Summon Limit, which is now at one. I guess this was before the most recent ban list, so it says two here, but now it's at one. Okay, now we have, again, classic OCG, brainwashed by Maxi drawing their entire deck, and so they don't care if they're playing a million horrendous cards to draw. So we have not just one, but three Rainbow Bridges. Crazy. We have Silhouette. Only one Woes here. We're playing the Crystal Beast Cobalt Eagle because of the Rainbow Bridge engine. We're maining Secret Village, and we're playing horrendous draws here. Because if you guys aren't familiar with how the Horus cards work, Imseti is the only card that's actually good in terms of card economy. Like Happy is a brick. This card is Neg. And this card is similar because this adds a Horus monster from your deck to your hand, and then you place a card from your hand to the bottom of your deck. So this card by itself doesn't do anything. You lose a card to search a card. So these cards are very bad for card economy. This is +0, so this is fine, and this is a brick. So they're playing a ton of cards that are just very, very bad to draw in general, and then even worse to draw if you're going second. So obviously the ceiling is higher, and they're playing cards like Zombie Vampire, which are good because it helps you get to your engine, which you would have a lot more of if you weren't playing these horrible cards. But again, classic OCG. Okay, next list, we see another Centurion package, but we are playing the toy cards, 3 box, 1 soldier, 1 tank. I feel like I value the toy cards over, like if I had to choose between 2 soldiers and 1 rota, so three more cards, I probably would play those over the Centurion cards. But that also depends on what else you're playing in your deck. Synchro Rumble, I actually don't think is horrible, even though it is not a starter, it's just an extender. It is almost always live, but I don't think it's good enough. It's not enough gas, and it requires setup, so going second is not super great. This card obviously does nothing going second, same for this one. Again, classic OCG playing a bunch of cards where you're basically, most games, the majority of games, you're going to draw a card you don't want to see going second, so I don't know why they do this. They are playing Iris, though. I actually didn't see anyone playing Iris besides me, so that's interesting that other people think this card is also good. Um, and here we see, okay, so he's also on Red Supernova instead of Double Blazar. Formula Synchron for, well, they have Baron, but also Chaos Angel. And citing the Bestials here. Okay, and they were playing 3 summon limit before it was banned. It is banned for us now. Okay, next list. Okay, so now we are getting into Fiendsmith meta. So he's on 2 Tractus, which I like. I was saying that I think this deck generates at least one free body very easily. And so unlike other decks that don't want to draw Tractus, they want to draw Engraver, we don't mind drawing Tractus. So I think this card you could even play it at 3 without the Sanctus. But again, the 3 woes and like these, it is so crazy that people just accept you're playing 3 woes, 1 crossout. Called by, you could argue, is like has some utility going second, but they're just begging for cards that don't do anything going second in their main deck building. Anyhow, he's on Tri-Edge Master. He is playing Dies Irae, so not just wave hiking. Uh, I think Beatrice is banned for them. But anyhow, so Closed Heaven, one of each of these. It looks like everybody's playing these Bestials. I assume that is because of Fiendsmith. So again, we see that not only is Centurion popular in the OCG, but actually the large package with 3 stand-up and 3 oath. So I think this is really, really solid if you are playing the Centurion cards. Like these are really, really good cards. Whether you're going first or second, it's gas and extender, so it plays through stuff. I like that. Interesting, he's on 2 Sylve. A lot of people are on 1 and 1 of the tuners because they're so accessible. He's on 1 soldier, 1 tank. You have to like cut some things if you're on such a high Centurion engine, but I feel like if you can play so little hand traps, because you're on 3 Imperm, 3 Ash, 2 Veiler, so 3 is 6, 7, 8. So let's go to 8 hand traps. Oops, 8 hand traps. So I guess there's also Droll. Okay, let's call this 9. And you'll draw at least one most of the time, but only 31% of the time will you draw at least two. And I'm wondering, I don't know if Gimmick Puppet is the same in their format or not, but like drawing only one hand trap in a typical hand is definitely not enough for us, especially in a Fiendsmith meta. But it looks like this ratio is pretty similar because we see one Veiler, three Imperm, three Ash. There's Maxi here, obviously. I think maybe like the math on their hand traps is a little bit different because if you do draw Maxi, then the chance of you drawing into other hand traps is there. But it still seems kind of risky to me. And anyhow, if you were playing Maxi, you'd still like just because you were on breakers, you wouldn't not play Maxi because the card is so broken. And drawing into more breakers is not bad. So yeah, I don't know. I'm a little bit curious about these ratios here with the hand traps. Also playing Packbit, double Blazar here instead of the red dragon. Okay, he was playing Summon Limit before it got limited. All right, interesting. I think we're nearly done now. So here we also see that they don't like maxing out on the toy engine, but they do seem to love the Centurion cards. And again, they're playing the best cards at 3, and then they're playing Gargoyle because they have to. One Primera, it's searchable and summonable, and then the Trudea because it's part of the combo. Okay, maining the Phalanx, which it's honestly borderline to me acceptable versus not acceptable, but at least it's not True Awakening. Here they have Black Goat Laughs, which is interesting because they're not playing Thrust, right? And they also don't have Beatrice. Curious about that ratio there. Okay, next one. So same, I guess like Veiler and Droll being cross out targets is I wonder how often this comes up. You know, like if you play one cross out, the chance of you drawing the cross out and also they drew the Droll is so unlikely. Um, yeah. He's also playing the one nib for the cross out. He's playing Silhouette, main decking the reframing, which again, I don't like main decking these cards that are hard going first. Um, Amritara, we have the Zeus. We are playing Artemis. So there's no like actual Magistus package here, but I guess that is for an easy way to start your turn by going into Little Knight. That has come up for me a few times, but not enough for me to think that it's worth it. Unless you were also playing Zoroa and the actual like Floodgate Magistus extra deck package, then I think this could be pretty solid. We see he's playing the Delta here. Kaiser Coliseum was banned after this deck list. Okay, Secret Village is in the side, which is where it should be if you're playing it. Then here's the last list. So again, in my opinion, absolute insanity in terms of the ratios for the OCG. 3 Rainbow Bridge of Salvation. At least he's cutting the woes to 1, while most people like playing 2 or 3. So Brick here, Bricks here going second, Brick here going first or second. Horrible card economy going first or second. I guess draw Maxi and hope that you don't lose. And then, yeah, the good cards from the level 8 package, and he is playing the Rabbit. And Lina, interesting. So he's playing Lina with no Fiendsmith package, but can climb into Selene. And I guess if you are going for Selene to make access code, it is more likely with all of these spells that you do have enough spells engraved to make the climb. Whereas I found that in like a classic Whitewoods toy deck, the Selene is just not reliable enough. You can't reliably, without going out of your way and making awkward plays, get the 3 spells for this to go into the 2 material Apo. So yeah, I'm not sure about that. Anyhow, what we do notice is it seems like OCG does play a lot of hand traps and not so much breakers. And so cards like Apo are a lot stronger in that type of format where you're not just going to lose to like a Talents or a Dark Ruler. And so even just a 2 material Apo, I think is, fine. So that is my initial review of some of the OCG deck profiles. I don't like them like at all, actually. And I'm more interested in how the Fiendsmith cards are going to play and what we're going to do when the Azuma stuff comes out, which will be in Rage of the Abyss, I think it's called, which is still like another format away. Anyhow, that's all for now.